Hey, it's just yoga friends. It's Colette here, and we are ready for another IJY Connects Classroom. Now, today we have a very special guest. Actually, our guest was one of our first IJY Connects members, so I'm really excited to have a member who's doing a presentation. His name is Justin Manick, and Justin and his wife own a company here locally called Winter Park Massage and Wellness. And guys, I got to tell you, I actually went there and it was amazing. I came out so happy. It's such a beautiful studio. They make you feel so comfortable. They personalize it for you. So when I was there, I talked to Justin. I said, hey, is there any way you could go on and tell our members about what you do at Winter Park Massage and Wellness, as well as teaching them some things they can do at home? Because I know we're all under a lot of stress right now. We're all trying to work out maybe at home, and we've got some sore and tense muscles. So Justin's going to help us with that today. So we're just waiting here a couple minutes. Oh, I see people logging on already. Yay, we've got an audience. I'm excited you guys all want to hear about how to massage yourself at home and get rid of that stress and that tension. That's great. But go ahead and say hello. Let us know you're here. For Justin knows who's out there in the audience. Just say hi. Say hashtag, what would you like to learn today? What's important to you? Why are you getting online today? Now, remember, the cool thing about this Facebook Live is as Justin's presenting, he's going to be asking you questions, but you can also ask him questions. So feel free to type in anything you want. And well, within reason, guys, let's be careful there. And he'll be able to answer your questions for you. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Justin, and welcome Justin from Winter Park Massage and Wellness. Hey, Justin, how are you?
Hey, Colette. I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me.
Good. I'm going to go ahead and hide myself and turn the screen totally over to you because I know you can handle the stage. Thanks, darling.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I'm really excited to be here with you all today. And excuse me, I'm not a camera person. I'll be the first to admit, like, this is super uncomfortable for me. I'm the guy that likes to be behind the scenes, just doing what I do. Hence my career as a massage therapist. I like to be in a room, just doing my thing and helping people feel better. I don't like to be the star of the show by any means, but here I am today. And again, I'm just super excited for the opportunity to share with you. And hopefully I can give you some tools that will be super helpful in kind of just managing all the pain and stress that we're all under. You know, we're all under so much stress with not only the pandemic that's been happening, but just life in general. The pace of life gets to us, and we know how often that can start to manifest in our body physically. So I'm just super grateful for the opportunity to share. And if I could ask you, Colette, if you could go ahead and share my other screen. I've got a little presentation here that I'm going to use to kind of keep me on track. Otherwise, I will ramble. I'm a rambler. Guilty as charged. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you for pulling that up for me. So again, today's presentation is called Self-Massage Techniques for Stress and Pain Relief. And what we're really going to focus on is helping you find quick relief for muscle tension and stress using your hands and some simple tools that you probably already have at home. So yes, and Michelle, I love it. I had to actually turn my desk around so I could make sure that the muscle chart was behind me because I want to point out a few things while we're going through this. But let's get started. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was there was a book in 2014 written by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, and it was called The Body Keeps the Score. And the focus of that book, while it wasn't necessarily on just stress and pain, it was mainly focused on trauma and how it affects the lives of the people who've experienced it. But one of the things that he really focused on in the book was that trauma is far more common than originally thought and far more common than what we would even usually identify as trauma. And there was an author named Peter Levine who was actually doing an analysis of the book, and he made a point about the difference between us and animals and how we deal with trauma when it happens. And so a quote that he mentioned that I really love is that animals who survive an attack by predators will get up, physically shake it off, literally shake off the nerves and then run away. So that's something that's super difficult for us as humans, who don't have threats or as obvious as a tiger or a bear or something trying to attack us. We're not in fear for our life in every moment that these things happen. Um, and our threats are not as short-lived as the threat of a predator attack. So the reason that comes into play with what we're talking about today is because without a distinct end to that traumatic event, our body will continue to secrete stress hormones like cortisol. So now what does that do to us on a physical level? Well, what they have done now is start to study chronic stress as a form of extended trauma. Sheldon Cohen from Carnegie Mellon University just did a study in 2014 about how prolonged stress actually alters our body's effectiveness to process cortisol. And cortisol is really important because it helps us to regulate our body's inflammatory response. So to kind of simplify, what he found there was that increased or sustained stress can actually decrease our tissue sensitivity to cortisol, which can allow our inflammation levels to get out of control. And his exact words were, inflammation is partly regulated by the hormone cortisol. And when cortisol is not allowed to serve this function, inflammation can get out of control. When under stress, cells of the immune system are unable to respond and consequently produce levels of inflammation that produce disease. So you'll see there in that quote, I actually added parentheses around the word ease in the word disease. And that's because if you actually break that word down to its two specific parts, it literally means that your body is in a state of dis-ease. Your body is not finding a state of ease, which is what we're naturally meant to do. So there's also been numerous studies that have been done lately that have shown that the more anxious that we become, the more tense our muscles become. And that's because traumatic or stressful events will actually trigger our sympathetic nervous system. And who here has, if you've heard of the fight or flight, just drop a comment in there. Let me know that you're familiar with that concept. But essentially, we have two different nervous systems. We have our sympathetic nervous system and our parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is our fight or flight. That's our nervous system that kicks in to keep us alive whenever we need to take action quickly or react to a situation. And our parasympathetic system is our rest, digest, and repair nervous system. So that's the nervous system that kicks in when our body is in a nice, calm, relaxed state, maybe after a yoga class. I don't know if anybody took Miriam's class today, but hopefully some of you made it out there and we're able to get some yoga in, help you relax a little bit. And the reason that this becomes such a problem is because with chronic stress, like I said in the beginning, we don't have a distinct end to that traumatic event. It's just a prolonged trauma, and that gets us stuck in that fight or flight mode. Now, we have a lot of different ways that we can deal with chronic stress and anxiety. One would be yoga. We've talked about that. And yoga is fantastic because it helps to bring you back into your body, helps you know what's going on when you can start to breathe and check in with yourself while on the mat. It's also great for helping you just be present and be aware of whatever's coming up for you so that you can kind of face it head on. Meditation, very similar. You've heard yoga probably referred to as a moving meditation before. Another thing that's great for dealing with chronic stress and anxiety is engaging in supportive relationships. Now, a supportive relationship could be your family, friends, loved ones, a partner, but that could also be the professionals that you choose to engage in your care. That could be your counselor, your doctor, your massage therapist, whatever that might be. And then spending time in nature is awesome, helps you to recharge, making some time for self-care, and then just doing some things that you enjoy doing and that will make you laugh. It's really no secret that laughter really is the best medicine. So, but we're here today to talk about massage. And the reason that massage is so good to help us deal with chronic stress and anxiety is because of the fact that it, one, brings us back to our body. So when your massage therapist is working on you, pressing on different areas of your body, you may start to even notice things that you had no clue were sore. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a massage and just the massage therapist has pressed on something and I just had that reaction of, oh my gosh, I had no idea that I had pain there. So it gives us an opportunity to really slow down and just connect to our body and understand what's happening. The second thing is that it's a therapeutic relationship. So if you've established a relationship with a massage therapist, hopefully they have created an environment that is safe for you and welcoming and just allows you to really just relax and let go and have trust that someone is there for you and has your best interests in mind and is really just trying to help you take care of yourself. And then, of course, you get some dedicated time to unplug and be taken care of. It's invaluable when you're trying to overcome stress and anxiety. And then, one piece that I like to talk about, and it's honestly one of my favorite things to talk about with massage because I'm a super science nerd. I love anything to do with how things work. And it's the neurofeedback aspect of massage. So, when we are under chronic stress and anxiety, our body is getting signals constantly that we need to be in that fight or flight mode. Our muscles are tense, things are ready to react at a moment's notice. And what massage is able to do is provide a different stimulus, a different sensation to the muscles and to the nerves. We're really interacting with the nervous system, and it tells the body that it's okay to relax and that we can let go. That we are safe and that we're not in danger. So before I get into kind of the different areas that we tend to hold stress, I just wanted to take a quick look at the chat and see if I'm missing anything here. Yeah, okay. So we've talked about the body keeping a score and that we hold tension in different parts of the body. Go ahead and drop, if you want to, drop a comment in the chat. Let me know what areas that you have seen in your life where you have noticed that whenever you're starting to be under a lot of stress or anxiety, where do you feel that for the most part? What does that look like for you? And if you drop a comment, we're actually going to do a little raffle at the end. I've got something awesome to give away. But I just love to see kind of what comes up for other people because everybody's a little bit different. And there are some common areas that I'm going to go over, but if there's anything in particular that you all deal with that I don't have planned to cover, I can definitely touch on that before we're done. So let's get into what I call the tension triangle. It is the most common place that stress manifests, and I actually think I just saw Colette mention that, the neck. The tension triangle is that little area of our body that's formed by our shoulders, neck, upper back, and our head. So stress can trigger tension headaches, tightness in our jaw, tender, tight spots in the neck and shoulders, and can even contribute to TMJ disorder. I myself have struggled with TMJ for quite a while. Fortunately, I have an amazing chiropractor who's been able to help me with that too. But it's amazing how much more active or how much more aggravated my TMJ is whenever I'm stressed out and whenever I can feel the muscles in my neck and back starting to get fired up. So what I want to go over is a few different techniques to kind of work on some of the tissue in this area. And the first one is called the temporal massage. Now, our temporal massage, you're going to think of your temples. And you can do this however you want to do it. You can use 2 fingers, you can use your whole hands. I really kind of just mix it up. That's what feels best to me. So whatever feels good to you is what I suggest that you do. And the key is going to be to use enough pressure that you can feel the discomfort in the tissue, but that it's not painful to the point where you feel like you're holding your breath or that you're needing to kind of grit your teeth to grin and bear it or anything like that. So what we're doing is we're going to work all of that tissue that is basically on the skull north of the ears and the temples here. And it can be as simple as even just kind of finding tender spots and pressing into them. that can feel really, really great. And what we're working there are the muscles of the skull, primarily our temporalis muscle. The temporalis muscle runs here on either side of the head. And yes, like Stephanie mentions, if you've got a headache creeping up, if you can get at this area, it is one of the quickest ways to find some relief. So the next technique that I use is called the occipital massage. It's an occipital massage. And the area that we're really focusing on, let me see if I could show you on the muscle chart here. You may not be able to see it real well, but there's a little red dot up here on this guy. And we're working the muscles here in the back of the skull and at the top of the neck. There are tons of muscles that insert there, right in that occipital region. So it feels awesome to just take 2 fingers, poke and prod into that area. Again, circular motions feel great. Yes, Tucker, before bed, absolutely. And for me, this is the #1 spot that I start to feel pain whenever I feel a tension headache coming on. I tell Stephanie all the time that like when this area gets tense, it feels like something's just locked up there. It just feels stuck. And I really have to loosen up the tissue here. Oh no, I'm so sorry, Michelle. TMJ is not fun by any means. So one of the things, if you saw the Facebook posts that we've been making over the last few days, um, with regards to the presentation, I dropped a little couple tidbits of some things that you can do with some tools that you might have around the house. So I wanted to take a second and talk about one of those now. Normally I have 2 tennis balls, but we have a husky, and if he finds a tennis ball, it doesn't last long. So now I'm down to 1. I had planned on showing you how to use 2, but it's pretty simple, and I can still demonstrate for you either way. I also mentioned a tube sock. What I do is I take 2 tennis balls, and I put them in the tube sock and tie them off so that they are tight together and there's no space for it to slide down any further. And then what you can actually do is find a comfortable spot on the bed. If your bed is too soft, it can be helpful to do this on a yoga mat because you'll have a little bit more solid surface underneath you. But I love to position these 2 tennis balls on either side of the spine, right there at that occipital ridge, just below the skull. And I will lay there for 10 minutes, 15 minutes even. And you would be amazed at how quickly the tension can start to melt. Yes, Lori, awesome. Tennis balls, like so many different uses. And you can have a tennis ball, or it can even be a lacrosse ball if you want something that's a little bit more solid. Sometimes people find that tennis balls are a little bit too soft and squishy, and they don't get the relief that they want. So a lacrosse ball, excuse me, grab a little sip of water here. A lacrosse ball can be great for the same thing. And then I'll even show you another type of ball that I'll use for some different areas. I wouldn't use, well, I'll show you now. It's a golf ball. I really wouldn't use a golf ball up here in the neck because it's a little bit too sensitive and this can be a little bit too hard. But yes, any kind of squishy ball makes a great massage tool. So, okay, moving on from there, let's talk about third eye massage. If you're yogis, you've most likely heard of the third eye, and that's the space here in between our eyebrows. Now, there's different ways that you can massage that. It can feel really great to even just pinch the skin there and pull it away and hold it through a few cycles of breath. Another technique that feels great is to actually take 1 or 2 fingers, push in here just to where the top of the bridge of the nose is, and up, almost up like you're pushing up into the ridge here just under the eyebrows. And again, all of these techniques, you want to breathe through them. If you find that it's too painful and that you can't breathe, then back off. That's not what you want to be doing. And then, of course, we can always go with the tried and true circular motion just here in that third eye area. If you find that your tension headaches tend to be concentrated there, this is a great technique. And then so for all my TMJ sufferers, this next technique, just literally tracing the chin and the jawline. And I'll start all the way down at the bottom of the chin. I'll work my way up to this point on the jaw here, where our jawbone, so our jawbone actually comes down like this. It makes an L shape. And I will trace all the way from the tip of the chin all the way back to that corner 2 or 3 times, just working through any tenderness there. And then I'll actually start to make circular movements following that jawbone all the way up to where that TMJ is, where that temporomandibular joint. That's a trivia word for you. I'm just really working into all that tissue here. We have a giant muscle that runs right from basically from our cheekbone here down to that corner of our jaw. It's our masseter, and that's the muscle that's responsible for chewing. So working through here works wonders for any kind of TMJ issues. And then what I tend to do after that is I try to get into the muscles in the front side of the neck. So this technique that I use now I call it the clavicle pin and stretch. So I cross my arms here and I actually bring my fingers just above the collarbone. And then bring the elbows down as far as you can get them to go until you feel the shoulders start to drop down with the arms. And then you can just take the head back. Just breathing through this stretch here. You can feel all the muscles in the front side of the neck lengthening. It's your SCM, your sternocleidomastoid muscle, your platysma. If you've ever seen the Swamp Thing, anybody? I'm probably dating myself here, but Swamp Thing was a movie, I think in the early 80s or something. And there was a monster that just had this massive, I don't even know what it was, but that muscle there is the platysma, and super, super helpful to create some length there and get a nice stretch. And then there's another option for that same clavicle pin and stretch that I like to use to get into our scalenes muscles. Our scalenes muscles are some of the muscles that help us to rotate our head to either side. So this is one hand. And we take the opposite hand and come across to the opposite collarbone. And then I tend to follow the collarbone up towards the ridge of the shoulder. And then once I find the ridge of the shoulder, slide it down about 1 inch or so and kind of press in towards the collarbone and down. And it's probably going to be pretty tender. I don't think I have a single client that I've ever worked on where the scalenes were not tender. So you can press into that area, and then what you'll want to do is turn your head to the opposite side, and then take your head back, almost like you're going back towards that opposite shoulder. And you'll feel that stretch all through the scalenes muscles. This is a great place to also just do some gentle circles, working from that point where we were holding all the way up to the back of the skull here, where the scalenes are actually inserting along the spine. Another one that's great if you've got any kind of tension headaches. Okay, and then we'll talk about the trapezius trigger points. So the trapezius is this kite-shaped muscle right here. So it attaches up here along that occipital ridge. Remember, we talked about there's so many muscles that attach up here. And then it's basically comes down to the point of the shoulder on both sides and then attaches here along close to the thoracic spine. The trapezius is full of trigger points and tender areas, and is one of the most common areas that will where tension will start, and then it slowly starts to creep up the tension triangle towards the head. So this is a great place where you can take that tennis ball and actually press it into the wall. And someone mentioned that earlier, and I can't remember for the life of me who it was, so I apologize. But what I like to do is take the tennis ball, actually find the tender spot, and then you can lean, put pressure right into it, and you can keep the tennis ball static if that feels good, just on a spot that's real tender, or even just moving around can feel great. I tend to be more of a static pressure person in my traps, but you do what works for you. And this is where I mentioned the golf ball. So this is an awesome place to use that golf ball as well. The biggest thing I would say about when you're using the golf ball is that it's a much more solid point, and trigger points can be super, super, super tender. So regulate your pressure. Don't put all your weight into it right away, and then take some time to kind of just work into those tissues and see how it feels. Perfect. And I did want to mention, we're talking about the tension triangle. So that's that area in the back body, from the shoulders up to the head. But there's this sneaky culprit that's responsible for a lot of the pain and the tension in that area. And because of the way that our world is, so many of us work at desks all day long. We're on the computer, we're driving in our cars, and then we're just under tension and stress. So we have this tendency for our shoulders to end up rolled forward by the end of the day. We're hunched over, we're on our cell phones, whatever the case may be. It's just a common position that we find ourselves in. And we do our best to try to the posture and be aware of it, but it doesn't always go as planned. So what that does, though, is cause a shortening of the muscles in the front of the body, especially our pecs. We end up with that rolled forward posture. So if you're having pain in the tension triangle, I would, if you have 5 minutes and this is the only time you have to actually do any self-massage for the day, you will get immediate relief almost every time if you just take some time to work into the pec muscles. And that can be from following it all the way over from our sternum. That pec muscle actually attaches to our sternum on both sides here, along our clavicle, our collarbone, and then actually attaches into the upper arm, the bone of the upper arm. So working through that tissue, I like to start in the middle and work out. And again, you can do like nice gliding strokes or just kind of poking into different areas and kind of pulsing some pressure against tender spots. Whatever helps you. Lori, it's actually a pretty common myth that lactic acid buildup causes pain and tenderness in our muscles. It actually doesn't work that way. Science has shown over the last few years, they've done a lot of studies. Lactic acid is converted almost immediately. As long as you're continuing to breathe, your body is continuing to get rid of lactic acid. So it's more often than not, tenderness in the muscle tissue can be from if you've done some exercise or something, there can be little bits of micro tears that need to heal. That's part of the repair process that our body goes through to fix tissue. But it's also largely our nervous system. So our nervous system feels those points of tension and sends pain signals to our brain. So that's why massage is so good at getting rid of pain, because of the fact that it can actually get rid of those things pretty quickly or send a different signal to our brain and tell our brain that it's okay for that muscle to relax. And before I go on to the next area, we're going to talk about the low back, but let me just take a quick look and see if we've got any questions in here that I'm missing. Lots of shoulders, neck. Henry, yes, playing golf, lower back, absolutely. We're going to get into some stuff here in just a second for that. Heating pads are great, absolutely. Awesome. Tucker, I'm happy to share. Like I said, I'm a science nerd, so I can't talk about this stuff with not talking about the anatomy. And, sometimes it might be too much for some people. Some people may not want to know that much, but that's just the way that my brain works. So you have to deal with it. Caitlin, yes, doing that instead of using a ball and on the door frame, that can definitely help. The only thing with any kind of solid material, whether it's a door frame or a golf ball or something like that, just be aware of your body position and where your bony prominences are. Because I can tell you right now, it doesn't feel good to put a solid object against a bony prominence. Try to keep it in those areas where you have some soft tissue. Perfect. Okay, so let's get on to the low back. And actually, I'm going to have to ask y'all to bear with me 1 second. My laptop just told me that my battery is running low. Nope, but it's plugged in. I'm not sure what's going on there. Okay, so the low back. I wanted to talk, I can't talk about the low back and the muscles in the low back without pointing out something that I think is going to make a lot of things make sense. If you look over here on the slide presentation, and I don't know if you're on your phone, it might be a little bit tougher to see, but I have pictures of the 3 different types of vertebrae. We have our cervical, our thoracic, and our lumbar vertebrae. Lumbar vertebrae being the ones in our low back. And if you just look at the sheer size of those bones, you'll actually see that the lumbar vertebrae are significantly thicker and more solid than the other. Well, they're all solid, but they're just hefty bones. And that's because of the fact that they support the full weight of our upper body. And not only do they support all that weight, but all of the musculature in the low back helps to support the upper body, and then a lot of them attach down into the pelvis and the hips, which causes movement there. So those bones have to be super sturdy. And as you can imagine, if the bones and the muscles in that area are doing a lot, they tend to be under a lot of tension. So there's a couple different techniques that I use here. The first is sacral massage. And our sacrum is actually this little triangle. There's a triangular bone here under all this muscle and tendon and tissue here. And it sits right between the pelvis. It's that triangular bone at the base of the spine. And what I do is I will find either on a yoga mat, sit up on a block, or even just come up to the edge of my chair. And I just use my fingertips to trace that bone, making some circles all around that area. And it can be really tender. If you're somebody who has a lot of low back pain, don't be surprised if this area is super, super tender. And this is another great area where you can use that tennis ball. Put it against the wall, lean your weight into it, and either just stay static, or you can rock from side to side, get that ball moving a little bit. The other thing about low back pain that is crucial, and that I find that a lot of people don't realize, is that our glutes are one of the major contributors to low back pain. our glutes tend to radiate pain upwards into our low back, and then they can radiate pain down our legs. So if you're having low back pain, doing some glute stretching, doing that technique with the tennis ball, just leaning into it, finding those spots. We've got some big muscles in here. We have 3 of them. We have glute max, glute med, and glute min. They all do different actions, but that entire area is notorious for radiating pain up into the low back. So if you're having pain and tension in that area, there's tons of yoga stretches that you can do that will help in that area. But I find the tennis ball to be probably the most effective for me. So give them a try and see what works for you. And so I'm gonna move on to giving our legs some love. But let me take one quick glance at the chat here. Eileen, frozen shoulder ideas. So frozen shoulder is a condition that's the most common name for a condition called adhesive capsulitis of the shoulder. And what that is the joint is starting to have restricted movement. So that's working the musculature around the shoulder is great to help get some more range of motion in the shoulder. But scientists have not actually found a specific cause for frozen shoulder, unfortunately. And it is a condition that seems to alleviate itself on its own, whether we do anything or not over time. It just takes time to get better. But anything that you can do to increase range of motion without causing pain and inflammation will absolutely help. And then Stephanie's actually, I think she just commented a couple things in there, and she's had some clients with frozen shoulder issues that have gotten some relief from some of the things that she's mentioning there as well. So I want to talk about giving our legs some love. And there are some major muscle groups in the legs, right? We have the quadriceps group here in the front of the thigh. We have the hamstrings group in the back of the thigh. You have the adductors, which are the group on the inner thigh that brings the leg in towards the midline. The glutes, actually, the glute med, glute min, kind of wrap around the lateral thigh here. And then we've also got some muscles that run down the lateral sides of the thigh as well. So there's a lot of tissue there that can get really tight and cause us quite a bit of pain in the hip and even into the low back sometimes. One of the things that I like to talk about whenever I'm talking about working on the legs at home is the iliotibial band. So I don't know if you can see, but there's this white strip of tissue here, and it's actually attached to our glute max, which is this one here. You can see on the back side where it inserts, and this little strip of muscle called our TFL, our tensor fascia lata. That muscle is the culprit most of the time. So if you've ever been told to foam roll, I'm probably not going to be really popular right now, but that's okay. I'm just going to tell you the truth as I see it. There are a lot of nerves in that area on the lateral side of the leg. It has low blood supply. There are not a lot of veins and arteries that supply the iliotibial band. And it's a tendon. It's meant to be taut. It's meant to have some tension to it. It's not meant to be loose and floppy, because if it was, our knees would splay all over the place and we would have no stability whatsoever. So one of the things that I see, especially in people who work out hard, is that they get a lot of tightness in the leg, and then they've been told somewhere to foam roll, and that foam rolling, that whole lateral side of the leg from the hip all the way down to the knee is helping to release tension in the iliotibial band. Well, like I said, it may not make me popular, but you're not actually releasing tension in the IT band. you can't release tension in the IT band itself. And you can actually cause yourself more pain and damage to that area because you're compressing nerves, you're compressing arteries, and I'm not arteries, excuse me, veins and capillaries. You're compressing just all of the tissue in that area. And it can become extremely inflamed and actually cause you a lot more pain. So if you find that the lateral side of the leg is constantly feeling tight, what I suggest you do is grab that tennis ball. Find that this point at the front of our pelvis. It's roughly about here. You'll find that bony prominence. And that is our ASIS. The TFL, if you find the ASIS, is just inferior and lateral to the outside of that point. And there's about a 4 to 6 inch piece of muscle there. If you can get the tennis ball into that, you're going to find that that lateral side of the leg is going to feel so much better. So one of the things I wanted to talk about, if you are not able to foam roll, right? And by all means, if you enjoy foam rolling, that's fine. The foam roll does have its purpose and can work in a lot of different ways to help you feel better and get some relief in the tissue. But I suggest making sure that when you foam roll, you always have the ability to adjust your pressure and adjust how much weight is actually being placed down onto that foam roller. Because that tends to be the biggest problem when you foam roll, is it's kind of an all or nothing thing. All of our weight is going down onto that IT band and can cause a lot of damage. So I'm going to give you an alternative, and it's a good old rolling pin. So I actually did not have one of these. I had to go out and buy one because I don't bake, but maybe I will now. And the way that I use this, and I'm going to have to angle my screen a little bit here for you. So depending on whether you want to work the front side of the legs or the back side of the legs, I always try to start further from the torso. So if I want to work my quadriceps muscles with that rolling pin, I'll actually come down just above where the kneecap is. There's just a little bit of an indentation here. That is where our quadriceps tendon attaches to our kneecap, or our kneecap is actually attached there. And then I'll roll up. And you can roll back and forth. And then just kind of working through all the angles and all that tissue down the front side of the thigh. And the reason that I prefer this to foam rolling is that you have a lot more control. You have way more control over how much pressure that you're using. And then it gives you a little bit more precision than a foam roller would. So if you want to get in here into this area where the quadriceps tendon is, you know, mine gets really crunchy. I've had knee injuries multiple times in my life, and so it gets real crunchy in there. And I can't get in there with a foam roller. But with a rolling pin, I can get in there and just make some short, quick strokes, doing some friction, creating some friction. I can get into that area where that IT band is, but really what I'm getting into is the vastus lateralis, which is one of the muscles of the quadriceps groups over here. Then if you want to do the back side of the thighs, you can just come all the way up to the front edge of the chair, take that rolling pin behind the leg, start it just behind the knee, and then roll up. And again, short strokes, long strokes, whatever feels good. But being able to gauge the pressure and alter that on the fly, very much like a fascia blaster, Lori. If my understanding with the fascia blaster is that it has like little points on it or tips on it, and can get into that area, get into the fascia and create a lot of friction. Yes, absolutely. That'll definitely help with leg cramps. So yes, this is very similar to the fascia blaster. All right. And then how about the lower legs? So we've talked about the upper legs quite a bit. The lower legs, we can come back to that tennis ball. And I don't use this to relieve tension and pain in the lower legs the way you might think. I'm not going to put it against the wall and press my legs into it. What I would do with the tennis ball is actually put it under my bare foot, and I will roll my foot on it. If you're anything like me, after a long day on my feet get really, really tight, and I get a lot of crunchiness in there. So working through that tissue actually gives me a lot of relief in my calf muscles and my shins, the muscles that run across the fronts of my shins. It's amazing for that. And then in my post, I alluded to a water bottle. Throw a water bottle in the freezer, let it get solid. You can do the same exact thing you do with the tennis ball with a water bottle, and it is amazing. And it's actually twofold, because not only are you able to use the pressure from that frozen bottle to get into the tissue, but just ice is great for relieving inflammation, relieving tension. It will help tremendously. So last but not least, I wanted to talk about a couple acupressure points. This is a lot of the things that we're talking about are muscle tension and pain that we get from chronic stress, anxiety, and of course, some of this pain can come from other things, but these are places in the body that we tend to hold a lot of tension from stress and anxiety. So there are 2 acupressure points. I've actually got a few more on a PDF that we'd be happy to send out to anybody who just drops a little message in the chat or something asking for it, and we'll reach out and figure out how to get that to you. But 2 of the most simple ones that I wanted to talk about were the Union Valley point, and that is a point that is directly between the thumb and the forefinger. You actually follow that bone back to where it meets the bone of the forefinger. You can press into that area, and depending on what you want to do, you can either just press and hold, or using some gentle pressure and making some circles. And you'd be surprised, most people find that spot to be pretty tender, even though we never think about it. I do have to precaution anybody who is pregnant. This spot has been said to be able to induce labor, so this is not a spot that you want to massage if you're pregnant. But other than that, there really are no contraindications for it. And this spot also, acupressure works on the idea that we have meridians and energy channels that run through our body. And so this spot is fantastic for helping with pain and tension from headaches and in the neck. And then last but not least is our inner gate. So the inner gate, if you take 3 fingers, in Chinese medicine, they use a system of measurement called the zun, and it's the width of 1 thumb. So 2 zun is actually considered 3 fingers. And what we do is we find that crease of the wrist, come 2 zun below the wrist. So we're looking at about right there, and just applying some firm, gentle pressure there. And with all of these acupressure points, you just want to breathe through them. You can hold them as long as you want to, need to. This spot is also great for relieving nausea and pain, and actually like indigestion issues. My cousin's daughter, we were home for a Christmas party one year, and she was having some stomach issues, and so we showed her this point, and within just a few minutes of sitting down and massaging that point, her stomach felt fine. So that is super helpful. All right, well, that's what I have for you. what I wanted to point out is just with any of these techniques, these are all techniques that you can use at home. But if you're ever in doubt, just reach out. Like Stephanie and I are super open to just even consulting with somebody. We offer a free consult on our website. So if you're not sure that coming in for a professional massage is for you, um, or if budget and things like that are a concern, we're always happy to talk with people and consult with people and share what we know and try to help you as best we can. Um, Even if it just means giving you some things to work on for yourself. So don't hesitate to reach out. And if any of this stuff seems like it's too scary for you, or you don't want to, something hurts when you press on it, definitely don't hesitate to reach out to either us or any other massage therapist or professional that you might know. That's what we do for a living, and I don't know about other massage therapists, but I know Stephanie and I did not get into this field to get rich. Most massage therapists struggle on a daily basis, so it's not a super glamorous career, but we love what we do and we love to share the things that we can help people with to help you feel better. So I have a couple things on here just pointed out that to give a little background on who I am and what I do. Both Stephanie and myself are licensed massage therapists, yoga teachers, and hypnotherapists. We opened Winter Park Massage and Wellness. Formerly was called Roots to Wellness, but we opened in 2017. My specialty is the relief of chronic pain. I worked with corrective exercise, so I help people identify muscle imbalances that they have that could be contributing to pain in the body. And then I work with stress and anxiety. And Stephanie's specialty is that she works with people who are dealing with symptoms of grief, anxiety, and depression. She's actually taking some continued education right now as we speak to get some more knowledge on how to help people through grief and other kind of challenging times in their life. So we're super passionate about what we do, always willing to help in any way that we can. So please feel free to reach out. And I think if I stop sharing my screen.
Are you trying to bring me back?
We'll bring Colette back.
I'm here. Can you see me?
I can see you.
Hey, that was amazing. Anybody else agree with me? Please put a thumbs up and let me know how amazing you thought that presentation was. You exceeded my expectations. Wow. And I've been to your studio and I know how great you and Stephanie are, so you still exceeded my expectations. That was just great. So what we're going to do, guys, is we will repost this because I know a lot of you are asking if you can go back and see different parts of it over and over again. So it will be on our It's Just Yoga group page, and we'll post where you can go ahead and get that at. Also for future, just go to IJYconnects.com and you'll be able to see future classes we have. I'm going to go ahead and put up Justin's name and the name of his company again here just so you have it. And we'll also link to his Facebook page and his website so you can see that. And then, Justin, you said you wanted to do a contest. You were going to give away something.
Yeah. Did we get a?
Got hair sticking.
What we're giving away. So we actually spent a lot of time. Stephanie and I spent probably a solid 2 years looking for a CBD company that we had faith in, that had a product that was both clean and effective. And we discovered this company out of Colorado called R&R Medicinals. So they make CBD tinctures and gummies and all different supplements, but they actually launched a CBD cream that has been amazing for pain relief. So we're actually going to raffle off a bottle of R&R Medicinal CBD cream. Were you able to use that prize wheel?
I'm in it, but what I can't figure out is how to share it on the screen with
Okay.
you. So what I can do is I have everyone's name in
okay.
there.
Well, I was thinking,
so I can just spin it and you guys can
I figured what we would just go back and
you want me to do it?
We could just go back and do like a little live, or if you want to draw the winner, just spin the wheel and see who wins that, and then I'll coordinate with them on how to get that.
Okay, what I'm going to do, can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, you can still hear me good. I'm going to read off the names I have, and if you don't hear your name, please make sure you type in the comments so I add you to the list. I have Michelle, Lori, Caitlin, Doris, Tucker, Terilyn, Suzanne, Henry, Mark, Jessica, Eileen, Sue, Gustavo, Shane, and Jeanette. Is there anybody else that didn't get added that actually put a comment? I know we had some other people on screen, but they didn't put comments in. Anybody else? Last call, last chance. Okay, here we go. Sorry, guys. Next time I'll figure out how to spin this great wheel. But, you know, Justice did his job. It's me. The wheel is spinning. Can you hear it?
Yep.
It landed on Jessica. Jessica, you are the lucky winner.
Awesome. Jessica Jones.
Because Jessica is a member of IJY Connect, so I'll be able to get you in touch with Jessica.
Amazing.
So
perfect.
Guys, thank you. Like I said, you did more than I expected. You and Stephanie are amazing. I've been to your studio before. It is warm and welcoming. So anyone who is looking for the type of services, I think Justin obviously shows you he knows what he's talking about and he can help. Go ahead and give him a call, make an appointment. And like I said, after we post this, we'll go ahead and get their contact information up there. Any last words that you'd like to fill in, Justin?
No, just thank you all for participating and for, you know, asking so many questions and being engaged. Like I said at the very beginning, I hate being on camera. This is not my comfort zone whatsoever.
Fabulous. We're all new to this, right? We're all working on this together and trying to learn it out. But you did. Anybody else there? Send me some thumbs up, emojis. Let me know and let Justice know what an amazing job he did for us today. So,
well, it was a pleasure, and I look forward to, you know, the next time. And
we'll
like I said, if anybody
series, maybe every month, if you guys like it, we can continue the series. So, love you guys. Thanks, IJY Connects fans, and we will see you soon. Signing off.